Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Ranking the Albums. I've got my brother with us once again, my younger brother, Rich Pardo, all the way from New Jersey via the Zoom video hookup. Welcome back to the show, my man.
How you doing?
And again, today, so the last show, Rich was coming in from San Francisco. Now he's coming in from
Northern Lights.
Northern Lights. Okay, wherever that might be. Somewhere down in New Jersey, right?
Or
so
north.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So following up our Dream Theater episode, ranking the Dream Theater albums, here we're tackling New Jersey's own Symphony X, a band that
We're
Rich and
supposed to see in May, but probably not.
Yeah, I don't know if that's happening. I kind of doubt it. But that may be something that's going to be pushed back to the fall, is my guess. So we'll see. But Rich and I have seen Symphony X together many, many times, and I think along with Dream Theater, two bands that we both have really latched onto in the progressive metal genre. And, they're both local bands, New York and New Jersey. They played a lot of shows around here. And quite frankly, I think when you look at a lot of the bands of that genre, I've always really gravitated towards the music of both, although they're very different from each other. But there's some similarities. So you know how it goes, folks, with these ranking the album shows. We are going to start from our least favorite, go all the way to our favorites. My guess is Rich and I will have some differences here, and that's the way it should be, and as you as well at home. So feel free in the comments below to give us your top 5, your top 10, rank them as you like them. There's no right or wrong answer here, so curious to see what everybody thinks. So as always, I let my guest co-host go first and throw their stuff into the pit before me. So Rich, what's your least favorite Symphony X album?
First one. It was kind of like Dream Theater for me. The first album, different sound, different singer. Although some of the stuff was okay, but I just found myself not really listening to this much at all. And I also, probably that wasn't the first album that I picked up by them. I went backwards to that one, and it just didn't compare by that time to what I was listening to.
I agree with you. And again, for those of you who may not have been listening to Dream Theater at the time, even though they were a band from New Jersey, these were only available as imports here in this country. It was actually kind of hard to track down Dream Theater Symphony X releases, because they were only available as Japanese imports. But Rich is correct. I'm gonna go with him with the debut from, what was this, 96, something like that, mid-90s. Different singer, band not really figuring out what they were going to do yet. I think this album is very kind of neoclassical speed metal type of stuff. And while it's fine and probably leagues better than other bands, I just, that kind of Symphony X sound that we all kind of really started to love with the next couple, not really happening yet on here, but some good stuff on here. I mean, Premonition's cool. Masquerade obviously was a song they played a lot early on, Rapture, Pain. Some good stuff. I very rarely listen to this anymore. And even back in the day, I didn't listen to a lot because I got this after, the next couple. And when you started listening to them with Russell Allen, and then you kind of go back to that, it's like, maybe not.
Yeah, no.
So, all right, what do you got next?
Next, I really like this CD, but it's not as good as the other ones. The Damnation Game.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So, it's got some, Damnation Game, Edge of Forever. I always loved that.
It's a great song.
Winter's Dream. This was I remember when you first turned me on to them, that this was just totally different than what I was listening to. Totally foreign. And but this was great.
Yeah.
I love this stuff.
Yep, I agree. And that's also going to be my next to last. Again, solid. Some classic tracks on here. Winter's Dream, the 2-part to finish it off, is great. The title track is great. Edge of Forever. Savage Curtain's got kind of that Yngwie-ish type of thing going on there. But I just think not as strong as the stuff that came after it. But I think this album finally, you got Russell Allen in the band singing for them now. Michael Romeo is just starting to really hone his songwriting chops. Of course, the guy was a killer guitar player from the get-go. But it's the formation of the Symphony X sound started here, but still not quite there. I think subsequent albums is where it really comes out. So, all right, what do you got next?
This is where we're going to differ.
Probably.
I really like this one, but then as I'm listening to it, comparing it to the other ones, there was stuff that was not as good as the others. Like, yeah, this has one of my favorite songs on it too, "Communion and the Oracle." But I don't know, it's I didn't find it as good as some of the others, which is funny because the one that my next one, you'll be like, you ranked it lower than that one, but
well, I know that we're going to have a lot of the V Mythology Suite fans on board, right? Because I think that's like their big concept album. And I get it. I agree with you that I think that it doesn't perhaps contain a lot of their more memorable stuff, memorable tracks, but we'll get there. All right, next up, and I hate to put this so low because I really like this album a lot, but I'm going to go with Twilight and Olympus. I really dig this album a lot. I think for me, this has some of my early favorite songs on it. Through the Looking Glass and the Dragon's Den, Lady of the Snow, Smoke and Mirrors. It played live a lot. Church of the Machine, some great stuff on here. I don't know. I don't know. This is a hard, I will say, we were talking about this before we went on and started taping. This is a hard catalog for me because I think other than those like first two albums, everything else for me is really strong and I love a lot. So part of me hates the fact that I have this so low, but I love it. So it's only low because I couldn't make sense of this. So I don't know. So yeah, 1998's Twilight and Olympus comes in probably way lower than I wanted to, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, and that was my next one. I just had it slightly above 5. Everything you said, the songs, they're all classics to me. And I just love them.
You remember how much we played that album back when that first came out? I listened to that all the time, and we went to see them live on that. It's like, Jesus.
I think I can't remember which album it was for, but I remember seeing Symphony X in a motorcycle like sales room.
That was that tour
down in Jersey, which was actually, now it's like 10 minutes from where I live, oddly enough. And I just moved to Jersey, so
yep.
it
was them and Mastermind, I think, right?
Oh, I don't remember.
Open up and
I just remember that the stage was about 2 feet high above the crowd.
If that. There was about 100 people there. In fact, Jack Toledano was there. I think it was Steve Fleck there as well, I think.
Yeah, I don't remember who came with us. But it was weird. Downtown North.
That was crazy. Yeah, I don't know why they booked that, but it was a fun show. So
yes.
All right, next up, and again, this could probably be higher, but I think as great as this was when it first came out, this is the first one I ever got from them, so you obviously know what it is. I think they've really improved as a band since then, and I'll always have a special place for this. Excuse me, Divine Wings of Tragedy. This was the album that really got them noticed here in the States, and the title track is 20 minutes of progressive metal bliss. Pharaoh, Eyes of Medusa, Sins and Sorrow, Shadows. Excuse me, gotta get a drink. Talking too much today. The Accolade. What a great song is The Accolade, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, if you would have asked me this 10, 15 years ago, I would have ranked it higher, but I really think that their albums have just gotten better and better and better. And I think this was a groundbreaking album when it came out. I still think it's fantastic. I just happen to like others better. It is what it is, right?
Yeah, well, you'll get sentimentality out of me.
Yeah,
we'll see with that.
All right.
Next for me, and I had trouble between these two. Putting one over the other because I really don't know. They're in my book they're probably tied, but Paradise Lost was next for me.
Okay.
And I thought great album, and I think just listening to it first like 5 or 6 songs, great, and then it just trailed off a little bit for me. But I don't know. I thought it was, it's nothing against the album. I just think others were better.
Yeah, well, that's what it's all about, right? All right, so I'm going to go with the big concept album next, V or 5, whatever you want to call it. New Mythology Suite. I think parts of this will work really, really great. I think it was pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm going to go back to that challenging word again that we used in the Dream Theater episode. I think there's some really great stuff on here. Again, now that I'm like thinking about it and talking about it, it's like I wonder whether I would flip flop these two, but I dig this a lot. I know there's a lot of folks that rank this really, really high, and I love it. I mean, Egypt is great on here, Communion and the Oracle. I mean, there's some great parts to this album, and I think as a concept album, it flows pretty damn well. So I don't know, I like it. I like it a lot. All right, you're up.
Next one, I had trouble putting this one. It's the most Underworld. It's the most recent. That's one that grows on me. And again, I suffer from the newer albums. I don't listen to them as much as I have all the older ones. So, if you ask me again in like a year or two, I may change my mind. I may have ranked higher. So. But it definitely, I listened to this a bunch of times when I knew we were going to do this, and it just got better every time I listened to it.
Strong record. It's a strong record, I think. I'm going to go next. And again, I really struggled with the top half of this list because I really love all these albums a lot. And I think, like I said, since Damnation Game and Divine Wings of Tragedy, I think that they've just gotten so much better with each album. And this could rank higher. I don't know. I love it. I love this tour. I think it's a great record. I'm going to go with Iconoclast from 2011. God, 9 years ago already. Holy moly. This is a big, a lot of stuff on here. If you bought the deluxe, you got 2 discs worth of material. The title track is great. Dehumanized, Bastards of the Machine. Great song, Heretic. It's so much good stuff on here. Yeah, I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah. Third from the top.
Here you go. Divine Wings.
I can't. I just couldn't put some of the newer stuff ahead of that in my book. They're all classics.
Yeah.
And what's funny is way back when, I still remember liking Damnation Game better than this one.
Oh, really?
How I thought that, this was way back then, but how I thought that, I don't know. But the more I listen to this, it's a classic, and it still holds up for me, amongst all the newer stuff.
I will say there's some mammoth Michael Romeo guitar riffing on that album. Well, on all these, but I mean, for the time, kind of mid-late 90s, that was pretty Titanic. Speaking of Titanic, I'm going to go next with the Odyssey.
Yeah.
I mean, this is top shelf Symphony X, in my opinion. And I think, we talked about we keep bringing it up, but we talked about on the Dream Theater show how Dream Theater did a lot of those long epic compositions, and not all of them really worked. I personally think that Symphony X, when they chose to do a 15, 20 plus minute song, really knocked it out of the park. Mm-hmm. And I think if you look on a lot of these albums and you pick out that epic, I think they're all pretty damn good. I think the title track here, which is 24 minutes and change, is fantastic. The song Wicked is great. Accolade Part 2. I mean, we loved the Accolade original, way back when. King of Terrors, Awakenings and Turnings. I mean, all good stuff. I love the production of this album. I think this album, this was 2002, by the way. This is just larger than life. And that's the shirt I'm wearing today, as a matter of fact. So I don't remember who I saw them with on that tour, whether it was a headline. I don't know. I'm trying to think of all the shows I've seen them over the years. Quite a lot. Maybe there's some at the Chance then. I don't remember. I did see them at the Chance once. Maybe that was later on.
Yeah, we didn't see them together on this tour, and I don't remember when I saw them.
And this wasn't that show down in New Jersey with we saw a show with them in Blind Guardian. That was at that old not
Birch Hill.
Yes, Birch Hill.
Oh, we saw him there.
Yes, we saw him at Blind Guardian.
Yeah, I don't remember.
There's a lot of alcohol drank that night.
That's why I remember it.
Yeah, that might have been right around that time. Yeah, it might have been. I don't know. I don't remember when. I don't know. Well, it doesn't really matter. But anyway, you're up.
Well, that's my number 2.
All right, here we go.
That one of my favorites. The Odyssey. That song. Every show we go to, people in the crowd start chanting that every single time.
Yeah.
They play it sometimes, not always. And don't forget on that if you got the bonus CD, you got Masquerade, the remix.
Oh yeah.
Russell Allen. So yeah.
I will say that on the title track to the Odyssey, that is probably one of Russell Allen's best vocal performances on any album, in my opinion. All right, next up, I mean, I'm going to go with Underworld next. I really love this album. I know you're probably like, wow, that's pretty high for a newer one, right? And we got 20. Is it that long since we've had a new Symphony X album? 2015? Holy moly!
Yep.
Jesus.
They were always a band that went a few years in between.
Yeah, but 5 years is long for them, right? I mean, this is, I think, the longest period we've had from them. But there's some great stuff on here. Legends, Nevermore.
Mm-hmm.
Great song. The title track is killer. The Kiss of Fire. I'm a big fan of that song. Charon is a great song. I don't know. I dig it. And this is a heavy album.
Yeah.
I think most of their more recent albums are bone crunching heavy. They're plenty progressive, but more importantly, I think the production of Romeo's guitars is just like stellar. I mean, he is just like exploding through the speakers on these. I don't know. I dig that album a lot. All right. Number one for each of us.
Yeah. And we know what they are.
Yep.
This is one that has grown on me tremendously. And actually, when we went ahead we were going to do this show, I listened to this and listened to it and listened to it and listened to it. And both CDs are fantastic in my book on it.
Yeah.
They're fantastic.
Well, it's almost like that second disc is not really just a bonus disc. It's like it was meant to be, but yeah.
No, it's got some really good songs on it.
Yeah, I agree. Iconoclast is really strong. And like I said, I struggled with the top like four here. I love them all so much, and it was really hard for me to separate them and rank them. But, when it comes down to it, and I talk about this all the time on the channel when I'm talking about, ranking things and all that kind of stuff. I go back to, well, which is the one that I probably listened to the most when it came out and still listen to it the most, and where there's certain songs that just like really have resonated with me. And for me, it's Paradise Lost.
Mm-hmm.
Just when this album came out, to me, this was like all of a sudden Symphony X was reinvigorated. Not that what they put out before this was, bad by any means. But I just thought, Set the World on Fire, Domination, Serpent's Kiss, the title track, man, it's just the Walls of Babylon. I don't know. I just love this. It's just so heavy. It's so explosive. But again, Underworld, the Odyssey, Iconoclast, these are immense albums for me. And while I love almost all the rest of the catalog a lot, I just think that these four are just like unbeatable. And they could all be tied for number one for me.
Yeah. See, to me, the only difference between your top four and mine, I let a sentimental pick get in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. and that's totally cool, because I do that a lot also. I just, as much as I love, Divine Wings and Twilight and Olympus and even, the New Mythology suite, there's like a subtle difference in the stuff that came after it. Just even more powerful and just more like, I don't know, something about the band just gelling big time. The songwriting of Romeo has gotten really, really good, and he's become a very good producer. And I think, the whole band, they're amazing musicians. And I think Russell Allen too has become a better singer over the years, because, he's been doing the Trans-Siberian Orchestra stuff and, various other projects and what have you. And I think that together as a band, they've just really grown together and matured together. So, but yeah, the whole catalog is really strong. I would say, for me, anything, I mean, Damnation Game is fun too for what it is, but I think anything post that is just, you can't go wrong. And you can include Damnation Game there too, but I don't know. A great band, I think. A really great band. And we need a new album. Is that going to happen this year? I know it's kind of rumored, but.
Well, before the coronavirus came about, I would have had.
Yeah. So we'll see. Hopefully they, because I know they were in the studio last year, so we'll see what happens. I hope we see a new album later this year, but We shall see. We shall see. So anyway, there we have it. Ranking the studio albums of Symphony X. Rich has got a crazy dog barking over there. But thanks to my little brother for joining us on another show. We'll have to do this again sometime. Anyway, visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. So, Rich, you okay to say a quick goodbye? Or is there still barking going on?
No, they're still barking. My neighbor's out, so my dog is barking.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks again for joining. And everybody, remember, rank them as you like them. So and in the comments below, curious to see what everybody thinks about the Symphony X catalog. And we'll see you again real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.